Hello, everybody. It's me, the Jackie, and as you can see, I got my 3D avatar sort of working. Oh wait, this is actually me, and I've been lying to you this whole time. I am actually me. I don't know who you are. Whoa. So, besides the fact for the last 3 days I've had a 101-degree temperature and really haven't been able to do much but lay in bed in a delirious state of, well, Pink Monster is my best friend, so it keeps telling me. One of the big news announcement here recently is that of the Steam stuff. And as you can tell behind me, I actually have the page. Sorry, my controller disconnected. It happens. I I I'm having technical difficulties. Okay? But as you can see, I have V Rising on my Steam Deck. Fun game, by the way. One of the mini games I play on my Steam Deck. Love this thing. It really does help a lot when I'm waiting and having to do a lot of things. It's a really nice game. The last game I tried playing was Forza 5. Love Forza 5. Not as much as Forza Horizon 4, but it's neither here nor there. And I know I don't stream every game I play. There are some games that I'd rather not do that with. So, what's so great? What's going on? And why am I talking about this? Well, actively having, well, I did not mean to do that. Actively having SteamOS in its mobile form open. Well, obviously, Steam just announced some new toys. I almost called them tools. Jackie is not the smartest of people sometimes, okay? Jackie is fairly much a retard. I said it, and so can you. For $9.95 a month. Just kidding. It's free to say. Free speech and all that, yeah? But when it comes down to it, Steam has introduced some new hardware, and today I kinda want to review the specs on that, look over some things, and decide, like, things about it. Because I've heard a lot of misinformation about things via tech reviewers on YouTube. Such dirty word. So, first off, we're going to have to open the Steamin'. The Steamin'. I suppose I don't want the VHS filter on for this. Although I think it looks cool. It's not that clear, and it could make some people a little bit upset. Just a little bit, though. Not a lot, just a little bit. So I suppose. Do 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 do. I would have been smart to do this, like, not live, because, yeah, I'm not that smart, okay? I have never claimed to be super smart with this. Look, stop judging me. I'm a dirty, filthy Linux user. Alright. Interesting. Apparently I I need to fit that a little bit better. I don't even know what's going on up there, so we will adjust. Look, don't be like Jackie, be professional. Some of us aren't smart enough to be professional, though. Anyways, your game's on the big stream. The new Steam machine says. Might you're obviously itch there. Let me move myself. Like I said, if I had been smart, I would have set up scenes for this. But I am not smart. I've never claimed to be smart. I've only ever claimed to be Jackie, and even that confuses me. enough fumbling on to make this content longer than it has to be because, well, here's where we're getting into the nitty gritty of the thing. The Steam Machine, your games on the big screen. Obviously, well, I'm still going to call it the game or the GameCube. It is obviously the GameCube. It is the Steam Disc game GameCube, and I don't give a fuck what anybody says. The Steam Disc GameCube is the better name for this. I do like some of the things. With over 6 times the horsepower of the Steam Deck, the Steam Machine has the power to play your whole Steam library, including your favorite AAA games. Just sign in with your Steam account and your entire library is there. Now, I love this because basically it's console filing a computer. It's giving people a computer in their home that they can enjoy and use like they do their Xbox. Because, one of the biggest things with console fanboys is they just like to sit down and it works. And from what I've seen, that is the entire design of the Steam Deck or Steam Machine. It's just a more powerful Steam Deck, basically. It uses Steam OS, optimized for gaming, which, believe it or not, I use Linux, so I, there's some fiddliness, but Steam takes a lot of that out. Small form factor, you can put it with your TV. It's cool and quiet. I/O for days, which is very important because I/O is important. GPU or CPU and GPU, 4K gaming at 60 FPS with FSR, thanks to a discrete, semi-custom AMD desktop class CPU and GPU. Now, I believe that means that they're separate. I'm not 100% sure on that. Uh, Obviously. The storage is develop or is available in two sizes, 512 and 2 TB. Those are fairly common for hard state storages. Connectivity to X2 Wi-Fi 6E plus Bluetooth 5.3 with dedicated antenna. Steam controller's wireless adapter is built into the Steam Machine for direct pairing. Now, that sounds cool. No giant brick. Steam Machine power supply is built right in. And of course, swappable face plates, because who doesn't love a good wood steam box? There's an LED strip out. Now, this is all obviously the marketing material here, It's also a PC. Great for streaming, It's showing all this interconnectivity of what I like to call the Valve ecosystem, the Steam boxing ecosystem. Now we're getting into the ports. Standard AC looking adapter, HDMI. It's got a display port, which is pretty neat. USB-C, USB 2A, USB 2A, USB 3A, the micro SD port, indicator LED, and a power button. It will be running an AMD Zen 4, which I think mine's a Zen. It'll be running an AMD Zen 4 6C, 12 teraflops, up to 4.8 gigabytes, 30-watt TDP. That's a decent entry level computer. Semi custom AMD RNA 3 with 20 CUs, 2.48 or 45 gigahertz max sustained card, 110-watt TDP. Now, I've seen a lot of people that have been saying that this is just a dedicated, or this is a basically a laptop CPU or a laptop GPU. I don't know much about the semi-custom AMD Zen 4. I haven't done a lot of research into it. I'm going to be honest with you. But it's the graphics card that what got me into, or what's got me into this. Because, well, when it comes down to it, the graphics card for this particular model, this particular box, because I feel like there's going to be an update, even though I'm still rocking my Gen 1 Steam Deck and it does amazing. I feel like I feel like this is where I need to point out where a lot of people are messing up. There's a lot of YouTube videos out there that are talking about how this is just a mobile graphics card. This is nothing cool. Like it's where this is on par with a 7400. Like, this is still a very much decent, although gen removed graphics. This is no different than what any console has done before. Actually, I would dare to say it's probably a little bit better, but there's reasons behind that. I don't feel like getting into super technical details. RAM wise, it's going to be running 16 gigabytes of DDR5 plus 8 gigs GDDR6. Um, that's decent. Like, we don't need 24 gigs of VRAM. Well, you don't need 24 gigs of VRAM unless you're me. You know, I need to turn notifications off one day. Um, that's a me thing. We can't all be special ed like me, right? It's going to have 2x2 Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and dedicated antenna, which I love to see. Steam controller is going to be integrated with 2.4 gigahertz Steam. A lot of technical displays up here. DisplayPort 1.4 up to 4K 24 hertz, which is 120 frames a second, or 8K 60, which is 8K 30. Supports HDR, FreeSync, and daisy chaining HDMI 2.0 up to 4K. Yeah, supports HDR. So, also, SteamOS 3, Archbase with KDE Plasma. So, it's an interesting machine. I'm going to be honest with you. Is it for me? No, because my computer's far more powerful and I already run Arch. Yeah, I'm a filthy Linux user. Get over it. Uh, but what does that mean for the environment, for gamers, for anything like that? Well, now that we've gone over the massive amount of tech and, bullshit, and flipped out this video with a lot of information that you just do not give a fuck about, it means that Linux is becoming more and more dominant in the gaming space. I know a lot of people like to talk about like how Linux makes up less than 1% of computers, but realistically, Linux makes up about 45% of the market. It's just those stats are always been skewed. Because if I play games on Linux, well, I'm probably emulating Windows somehow, some way through a compatibility layer or something like that. And I know, technically speaking, compatibility layer, and let's not go into my fucking degree here. And I know, I sound like shit. I'm sorry. I am going to try to be a little bit more up. Now, obviously, the Steam controller. I had a Gen 1 Steam controller and I loved it. Now, I know that that's a mixed bag. I also really love the feel of my Steam Deck. I just wish it wasn't so heavy sometimes. You know, this is actually what I think is going to be one of the best sellers that Steam has done because look at this bitch. It just looks good. It's got different configurations. It works with anything Steam has made, which is a good sign. It's got, all the things I've come to expect out of a modern controller and the little touchpads from the Steam thing. It's got motion controls. It, quite honestly, I was expecting this a long time ago, but I am glad that Valve waited off. You know, it looks cool. I can't wait to get my hands on one because, yeah, I've about killed another controller. I know I sound so excited right now. And finally, we're going to talk about the Steam frame. Now, obviously, I have touted the Steam machine. I think the Steam machine is going to be great for gamers if what they promise is true and it stays within a budget. Obviously, right now, none of the Valve stuff has really that much known about how much it's going to cost and whatnot. But hopefully, soon we will be finding out prices and stuff. But VR and non VR gaming. The Stream Frame is a streaming first wireless VR. To handle your stop to, or lean back and enjoy your non VR. See, that is something I like. I don't know. See, I'm not a huge fan of the Oculus play style because I've had issues with it. But being able to play stuff designed for comfort, easy to use, it has a separate adapter that is going to be for your eyes. It's going to use the eye tracking that a lot of people seem to think is, this neat novelty to dictate where it needs a higher resolution, meaning it's going to be watching your eyes, which can save a lot on power and needs, but it can also save on bandwidth. A lot of things that are having problems with VR at this particular moment in time. You know, and obviously it looks like fun to use. The controllers. So the Steam controller is going to work with this, but the Steam frame controllers are tracked in space by the headset, and they come with all the pin. They literally are this, and they look like they feel pretty good. I don't know much about VR. I haven't experienced VR except for the one time I got sick playing Hawken on an Oculus Dev. So the Steam frame is a PC. It runs Steam OS. There will be Steam frame standalone games, which I think is pretty fucking cool. I know a lot of people don't know that. There is a developer kit. The Steam, yeah, it'll play well with everything. I don't know how well it's going to play with my Steam Deck because my Steam Deck's a bit old. Um, but yeah, as you can see, processor is going to be a 4 nanometer, Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 architecture ARM 64, 16-bit unified LPDDR5X RAM. Storage is going to come in the 256 and 1 terabytes, which is pretty cool. Micro SD slot for expanded. Hell yeah. Display is going to be fairly neat. So yeah, ultimately, this is the thing that I will be watching a little bit more closely is the Steam frame because I've been wanting to get into VR. I just don't have the money to afford the big VR sets now, and I want something that works better with Linux. I don't want to do a whole bunch of third party bullshit for little games or little gains when it comes to anything else. Anyways, I've been Jackie. I know this video is probably not as good as my last iterations of videos. I will be working on that. I've had a lot going on. Obviously, I got sick. Uh, did you know COVID's still going around in 2025? Question mark? Why? And they're still putting people in beds. Anyways, until next time, my lovelies, I have a good day, Bye. I don't like that take.